How you doing? This is Sean McVeigh with Sean's Outdoor Adventures, and today I'm going to start off my new compound bow review for 2016. I'm going to shoot each bow with a heavy arrow through the chronograph at 450 grains, which would be considered like your hunting arrow. And I'm also going to shoot each bow with an arrow that's rated at 5 grains per pound, so 325 grains. I'm shooting each bow at 65 pounds. The reason I'm doing 65 is whether you know it or not, I have a shoulder injury from a long time ago, and if I pull a lot of bows at 70 pounds, it starts to aggravate me after a while. So they're all going to be shot at 65 pounds, and I'm shooting them at 30-inch draw length. Now, you know I have a 31-inch draw, but a lot of the IBO ratings that they give on these bows is rated from 30-inch draw. Plus, there's a lot more people who probably have closer to that than a 31. And so I'm going to go ahead and get shooting with these, and I'm going to give you my feedback after I'm done. So this is the Elite Impulse 34 at 450 grain arrow, or with a 450 grain arrow. .271. Elite Impulse 34, axle to axle is 34 inches, brace height 6 inches, 270, mass weight 4.4 pounds, the weight range is 40 to 80, draw length range 27 inches to 31 inches. Today I'm shooting it at 30 inches with an estimated feet per second of 337 to 340. 270.9. So now I'm going to go to the light arrow. .308. So the Elite is a really smooth bow. I really like the feel of it. It's nice and quiet, and there's not a lot of vibration in the hand. When the bow goes off, it doesn't. Some bows, I've talked about this before, really seem to want to jump out of your hand. It doesn't want to jump out of your hand too badly. So I like it. Let's see what the next bow has to offer. Next, I have the Hoyt Defiant Turbo. And I forgot to do this on my first one last time, but I like to ease down to see how easy the bow comes off the back wall. And I can tell you, comparing this to the Elite, this comes off the back wall very easily. I prefer a bow that stays on that back wall a little better. So, 289, and this is the 450 grain arrow. 30-inch draw, 65 pounds. Hoyt Defiant Turbo is 350 feet per second. Axle to axle is 33 inches. Brace height is 6 inches. Mass weight 4.2 pounds. A little more of a jolt. It's a little more radical at the end of the curve, the draw cycle, obviously, than the Elite. So that's one thing to decide for yourself. What is important to you? Speed, and you don't care how the draw cycle feels, or do you want to just enjoy the whole process of shooting where the draw feels real smooth and the shot feels real smooth? This is the 325 grain arrow. And it's 332.8. 333.6. Now I like the one thing I like about this bow, as far as Hoyts go, it's not as jumpy as some of the Hoyts I've owned in the past. What I mean is, like my Hoyt Vector, the 2012 bow, kind of wants to jump out of your hand more. This bow kind of stays in your hand nicer than the bows of the past. So I do think that there's a noticeable improvement from Hoyt on that. Obviously, this is also one of their speed bows. So it has that little bit more of a radical cam. I would assume that the non-turbo model is a little more smooth in the draw cycle. Obviously you lose some speed too though. But overall I'd say the Hoyt is a nice bow. The one big drawback to it though that I felt is it comes off of that draw stop wall just a little too easy for me. I prefer a bow that stays on that draw stop wall a little better than this bow. I'll also say that, you know, comparing this to the Elite that I just shot, the Elite was a little bit quieter than the Hoyt. The Hoyt's still fairly quiet, but I think the Elite had the edge a little bit on quietness, which I like a quiet bow too, so that's just a factor I want to throw in there. Next up we have the Bear BR33. I say for the Bear BR33, there's a clear difference in the draw cycle, and there's more of a gradual increase as you're coming back, and it hits a high point 3/4 of the way back, and then it, you know, comes into that valley back there, and it feels much longer. I don't know if I'll have to double check if they have this on 30-inch draw. I did the other ones at 30-inch. But if this is their version of 30-inch, it feels much longer than the Elite and the Hoyt. And the 450 grain arrow is 288. I'll have to have him check that draw length though, because that just feels so much longer than the other ones. And obviously the you add an inch or more of draw length, the speed is going to go way up. Yeah, that's definitely more than 30-inch. I'm gonna have to have him check that. Okay, I've got the Bear back, the BR33. And they adjusted the draw length for me. See what it does now. .281. The Bear BR33, 330 feet per second, 4.2 pounds, 7-inch brace height, 33.25-inch axle to axle. Goes from 45 up to 70 pounds is what you're able to get. Draw length can go from 27 to 32 inches, 80% let off. .326. You know, I would say this bow feels better to me than the one I shot last year, the Arena. I like this bow. It has a nice draw cycle. It is a little different than the other bows in that it's easier up front, and then you come into the weight, and then it drops off. So yeah, so the draw cycle feels a little different, but I enjoy the draw cycle. I do wish it stayed on that back wall a little bit better, but this is a nice surprise. It's a quiet bow. It stays in your hand real nice. It doesn't jump out of your hand. Not much vibration. So I'm very proud of Bear, with this product for this year. And I'd say it is actually, I've enjoyed every one of the bows so far, but this one has surprised me the most as far as the enjoyment. I enjoyed shooting this one more than I expected compared to the way it felt last year. Good job, Bear. This is the BowTech BTX. This is the 450 grain arrow. It's on the performance setting. It stays on the draw stop wall, better than the Hoyt does. The draw cycle's more jumpy, and that's what you get with the more radical cams and stuff. But if that's not an issue, I mean, when this bow goes off, it's nice and quiet. It's not jumpy in the hand. It's probably, out of the three I've shot so far, this one has the least amount of vibration and stays in your hand the best out of the Elite and the Hoyt in this one. The grip feels real nice. It's a little more smoothed out than it used to be. Like when I had a BowTech a few years ago, it wasn't as smooth, so the grip is a little more comfortable this year. At least, the way it feels to me. And so that's the 450 grain arrow, and that's coming in at 296 on that last shot. Now here is the lighter arrow. This is 5 grains per pound, so it's a 325 grain arrow. BowTech BTX, 350 feet per second, 4.2 pounds, draw length range 27 to 31, axle to axle is 31, brace height 6 1/4 inch, draw weight range 50 to 80. 337 on that one. So 65 pounds, 325 grain arrow. $339.5. So I really like this BowTech a lot. The draw cycle is a little more aggressive. I think with my, me having a little bit of a shoulder issue, it could get wear on my shoulder after a while. I kind of lean towards some of the smoother draw cycles just because of that. But if that's not an issue, and plus, again, this is on the performance setting, so if you put it on one of the other settings, you might get a little more of a relaxed draw cycle. But I do like the quietness of it and how it feels in your hand when it goes off. I really like that about this BowTech.
PSE Inertia IC, 348 feet per second. Draw length range is 24.5 to 30. Draw weight 55 to 70. Brace height is 6 inches. Axle to axle 31 1/8 inch. 75% let off.
$94 on those last two. Here's the lighter arrow. $335. 337.3. I'm going to compare this to the BowTech because they're both kind of your speed bows, even the Hoyt Turbo. So this one comes off the draw stop wall pretty easily. Like if you pull back hard, it can almost bounce and bring your hand back forward, which is a little bit of a drawback. Again, I always look for that. I think that's something that's important to me. I do like the fact that they've changed their cable guard slide a little better. I mean, they changed a little bit from the one I saw last year. It just looks a little better, and I'd have a little more confidence in it. Obviously, it's made to flex a little bit, has a simplicity to it, but so I like the way that is a little better now. This bow, you feel it a little bit more in your hand when it goes off, which you'd almost expect from a speed bow. It wants to jump forward a little bit more than like the BowTech. So if I was to put this next to the BowTech and say, which one do you want? I would go with the BowTech, me personally, but it's still a pretty nice bow. Right now I'm holding the BowTech, and I would say that if I absolutely had to pick one bow, I might lean toward the BowTech, but before I made that final decision, I'd switch the cam system to their more relaxed draw cycle to see how that felt. But I do really like this BowTech. They have a good feel when you shoot them. The draw cycle is not the most comfortable to me, but it did stay on the draw stop wall pretty nice. I do like the tunability of these bows. So I would definitely lean toward this. This would be kind of toward the top. I mean, but all the bows felt really good to me. The Hoyt impressed me a little more than their bows that they've had the last couple years. So I really like the Hoyt. I would say when I came in here today, I thought I was going to like the Elite more than all the bows. Because last year, when I shot them, I kind of went with the Elite as my top pick. But, you know, to my surprise, it's more, the bows are all, you know, real close. And I'd say the bow that surprised me the most today was the Bear BR33. I really liked it more than I expected. It felt better than the bows I've shot of theirs in the past, and so you know I would definitely consider that as well. But honestly, all these bows are so well made anymore, it's hard to say this one's the best or whatever. But as far as a complete package, as far as speed goes, and I really like to pay attention to the way the bow feels when it goes off. This BowTech has a really good feel when you release the arrow. It has a good weight to it, the way it feels when it's naked in your hand without a quiver and stuff. And the fact that you have the ability to make those adjustments, I think, makes the bow more marketable if you ever wanted to sell it. You know, there's a larger range of people that you can possibly fit it into. So I'm going to give BowTech the edge, but I mean, all the bows are real close right there. I would have a real hard time making a choice if I was buying a bow today. But ultimately, it comes down to what factors are the most important to you. Is it speed? Is it smoothness? Is it, you know, how the bow feels when it goes off? All those types of variations. So I would encourage you, if you're in the market for buying a bow, you know, try them all out. Don't be afraid to try a brand that you haven't tried before. You know, a lot of people are brand specific, and that's fine. But you may find that if you try a different brand, you might like it more. So I encourage you, if you're in the market for shooting a bow this year, keep some of those things in mind, but try them all. How's it feel in the draw cycle? How important is that to you? How fast is it, and how important is that to you? How does it feel in your hand when it goes off, and how important is that to you? What's the price, and how important is that to you? So take those things with you as you're out there making that choice. Until next time, take care and God bless. I want to give a special thank you to all the people at Miller's Gun Shop. I really appreciate them putting some time aside to set these bows up for me today and let me come here and shoot them. So thank you, Miller's Gun Shop. You got to come in and check them out.